fight fans, what's going on? Last night we had the middleweight unification fight between Daniel Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin. I did see the fight last night, but I didn't. I decided not to do this video last night. One is because it was late in the mug here on Eastern time. And two is because my computer, when I was trying to get it together, did some little funky reset. It had to restart, so I just said forget it, get some rest, and do it today. All right, we all know what happened. Gennady Golovkin wins by unanimous decision over Daniel Jacobs. There were a lot of people I noticed on Twitter immediately after, a lot of people calling it a robbery. But before I get to that, let me start with the undercard. Most people's number one pound for pound, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez against soreroom Vice. Now, I have to be honest. I did not know who this guy was, and I am one of those hardcore boxing fans who pays attention to the lighter weight divisions. By lighter weight, I mean anything under featherweight. And I do know, I would say definitely the top 60-70% of the guys at those weights, but I did not know this guy. I may have seen his name before, probably because he has fought some good fighters if you actually look at his resume, but I can't say that I've seen him before. I tried to find a few little things I can get on him this week. But regardless of that, I still picked Chocolatito. Actually, I picked him by 10th round stoppage. I thought that it would be one of those stoppages where not that he knocked them out cold, but that the referee would jump in and have to stop the fight. But that's not what happened. Sorung, they say he wins. Some people think that it was the knockdown that he got on Chocolatito earlier in the fight that did it. And this guy was actually a much better fighter than I honestly expected him to be. Shout out to my man Naota Boxing on Twitter. I thought that I was the dude who knew a lot of the cats who fought at the lighter weight divisions, but this dude is just he's a professor with the lighter weights. Usually, when it's a guy that I don't know about, I holler at him and he'll give me the rundown on him. And actually, during the fight, I mentioned something. I hit him up and mentioned something about this dude, and he just confirmed that yeah, he was he's actually the truth. He's a pretty good fighter. He may have 4 losses, but if you look at his resume, he has fought some names that you may know. Be that as it is, he dethrones Roman Gonzalez, and I would like to see a rematch. I would like to see if Roman can redeem himself from a fight that, just from my eyes, I thought that he was gonna win. Now, what I did think about last night was, why not set up a little super flyweight, like a 4-man tournament. We got the monster anyway there. Why? Who is right now? I think what, number 2. You have Gonzalez 1. At least he was 1. Anyway, number 2. I want to say that Juan Francisco Estrada is 4. And I forgot who was ranked right. Oh yeah, Cardros, who actually fought earlier in the card and got a decision. So why not see a rematch between Gonzalez and Estrada, a fight I've been wanting to see for a while. Let Sorung Vice get in there with Inoue, and then let's let the two winners of that fight again. But it was a pretty entertaining fight, and I don't know what else to say about it. Hey, the judges called the winner, and that's what it is. Move on to the main event, Gennady Golovkin and Daniel Jacobs. I went 1-for-1. Like I said, I picked Gonzalez by 10th round stoppage. That didn't happen, but you can check it on Twitter. I actually picked Golovkin by UD, and he won by unanimous decision. Now, I have to be honest, I didn't score the fight. I was just sitting and enjoying the fight, so I'm not going to say what my scorecard was because I didn't have a scorecard. But I actually wasn't upset with the decision, not because I picked Golovkin by UD, but I thought that it was a pretty close fight, like a 114, 113 type of fight. I also would not have been disappointed if Danny would have edged out the fight. Daniel Jacobs, for me, deserves a round of applause. He went 12 rounds with the monster. I thought that Danny Jacobs fought a great fight, almost a perfect fight against the best middleweight in the world. And if you don't think that Danny Jacobs is the second best middleweight in the world after that performance, then you must have something against Danny, because he fought great. I wasn't really thrilled with him switching to southpaw. You notice that Roy mentioned a few times in the telecast, but he was doing it to kind of stay away from Triple G's punches, even though Triple G caught him a few times with that straight right. But Jacobs, I thought, fought a pretty good fight. He used his jab. He had just enough foot movement, good shoulder movement. He didn't overly tie up. A lot of people thought that the only way he would win this fight is if he overly tied up. He didn't. He stood and fought at times, and he put some leather on Triple G. But all in all, Golovkin wins the fight, and I honestly don't have an issue with it. Uh, Even though I'm very, very proud of Danny, he fought a heck of a fight. So what's next for these guys? Absolutely, a rematch has to happen. But I'm just gonna be honest. I want to see Golovkin get that money fight against Canelo Alvarez. Plain and simple. I have no problem with it. Bernard Hopkins did it. I'm not gonna say he waited around at middleweight, but he got the Trinidad fight back in 2001, and then he did, stick around, a while, which I still think he made the way comfortably, and he got the De La Hoya fight. Bernard Hopkins for 2 years was screaming that he either wanted to fight Oscar De La Hoya or Shane Mosley. He wanted that big money fight, and unfortunately for Bernard, the big money fights were guys out of his weight class. He wanted Mosley and De La Hoya, who were at junior middleweight at the time, and he wanted Roy Jones, who was at light heavyweight at the time. So he stayed around until he got his big money fight. I think that Golovkin should do the same. I think that he should force Canelo's hand. They said they would fight him next. Let him get his money fight. Let him win. And then after that, I really want to see him right back in the ring with Daniel Jacobs. Plain and simple. As for Jacobs, let's see him fight Billy Joe Saunders. Let's make this fight big. Let Jacobs put his hands on Billy Joe Saunders, win that fight. Let's see Golovkin get his money fight against Canelo. And then let's see he and Danny do it again in 2018. It was a very entertaining fight, in my opinion. I enjoyed it very much, and I look forward to, in the time from now, seeing it again. Gennady Golovkin, unanimous decision over Danny Jacobs, and he's the recognized middleweight champion. All right, fight fans, catch y'all later.